Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome. You are now entering the Stone Zone on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Well, former Attorney General Bill Barr, certainly no friend of President Donald Trump, sat down with the House Oversight Committee investigators on Monday, where he cleared President Donald Trump of having any association inappropriately with deceased pedophile and child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's child sex ring. The Democrats have tried to change this into an issue, not recognizing that their demand for disclosure will merely expose the extensive relationship between Bill and Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. The truth is, Donald Trump cut Jeffrey Epstein off as early as 2005, and that was prior to Epstein being exposed and charged with sex crimes in Florida. The occasion was an inappropriate advance that Epstein made to Virginia Roberts, later Virginia Roberts Giuffre, when she was working at the spa at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, part of President Trump's palatial estate there. Trump actually barred Epstein from all of his properties and from his life. It's notable that between the time that Epstein was charged in Florida and the time that he reached a plea deal, the Clintons took a $25,000 contribution from him. After his conviction on the slap on the wrist charges that were okayed by U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales under President George W. Bush, Epstein not only returned to his sordid and illegal lifestyle, but Bill and Hillary Clinton continued to take millions of dollars from him for the formation of the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative. Bill also continued to socialize with Epstein, visiting the island based on sworn testimony that I read and wrote about in my book, The Clintons' War on Women, published in 2015. But he was on the island at least 4 times. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who we're told committed suicides only months ago. Frankly, I doubt that. One of the courageous women who refused to settle with Epstein and instead continued her lawsuit against him, said that on one occasion she was present when 2 16-year-olds were specifically flown in from New York for Bill Clinton's personal enjoyment. And although she did not personally witness sexual activity between the former president and these 2 girls, it was very clear why they were present. She was removed from the room, ordered to have sex with another one of Epstein's cronies. The House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, said that Attorney General Barr said that he had never seen anything that would implicate President Trump in any of this. And he believed if there had been anything pertaining to President Trump with respect to Epstein's list, and he felt like the Biden administration would most definitely have leaked it out. Barr served as President Trump's second Attorney General and had an acrimonious departure from the first administration after doggedly refusing to investigate election fraud in the 2020 election. Since then, he has become an outspoken public opponent and critic of Trump. So Barr, frankly, would have no reason to lie about Epstein's ties. Once again, it's being shown that the alleged ties between Trump and Epstein, which have been widely promoted by Democrats in the media, are a hoax very similar to Russiagate. and other fabrications that have been used to attack President Trump's reputation in the public eye. Again, I favor full and complete exposure. It is every single day I go on social media and I read people who say that I myself, who have reported more about the Epstein case than probably any author in America, either visited the island where it was alleged that I was wearing a bull mask. But you could tell it was Roger Stone because we saw the Nixon tattoo on his back. I say it here, I say it yet again. If anybody wants to make that charge and put their name on it, let me know where your lawyers will receive service, because I will sue you for defamation. It is a damnable lie, but it's the kind of thing that pops up anonymously on 4chan or other QAnon-oriented sites. It's false, it's a lie, and now you are on notice about it. Tulsi Gabbard announced that the UK has backed down in a struggle that she is engaged in with them. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has announced that the United Kingdom will be dropping its demand for Apple to put a back door in all of its devices that would potentially allow the government of the UK and other foreign governments to have full access to sensitive data from American consumers. Gabbard wrote in an X post, the UK has agreed to drop its mandate for Apple to provide a backdoor that would have enabled access to the protected encrypted data of American citizens and enable them to spy on these citizens and encroach on their civil liberties. It's hard to imagine any other head of intelligence other than Gabbard who would fight to keep the personal data of American citizens protected. It is amazing to me how much Tulsi Gabbard has accomplished in this very brief period of time. But since she used her position and her authority to declassify all of the documents that proved the seditious conspiracy to engage in treason by Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, FBI Director Comey, CIA Director Brennan, Rod Rosenstein, the acting Attorney General, Robert Mueller, and others, Senator Tom Cotton, strangely enough a Republican from Arkansas, has actually sponsored legislation that would strip the office of the Director of National Intelligence from her ability to declassify documents and shift that authority to the FBI and the National Security Agency. Those are two of the agencies that actually fabricated and covered up the Russian collusion hoax. General Michael Flynn, among others, has spoken out against Senator Cotton's legislation, which is clearly designed to return to our intelligence agencies the ability to hide the facts from the American people, just as the facts were hidden for over 3 years regarding the Russian collusion that never, ever actually took place. Gabbard is acting now to protect legitimate whistleblowers and create a culture where their voices are heard, respected, and their allegations of deep state corruption are taken seriously, are examined, and investigated. Prior to this, whistleblowers usually found themselves prosecuted when they stepped forward to report government malfeasance. They would find that they themselves would be targeted for coming forward and telling the truth. So I say God bless President Trump for defying the neocons and appointing Tulsi Gabbard to this position where, let's face it, she's exceeding all expectations. For those who are unfamiliar with Tulsi Gabbard, she was a Democrat, 4-term Democrat congresswoman from Hawaii. She remains a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. She was a combat veteran in Iraq. She's also a championship surfer, and she is an expert markswoman. I think she has a great future. She was a Democrat, then she became an independent, And now I'm happy to say that she is a Republican, one of the rising stars in Donald Trump's new Republican Party, the party of the middle class, the party of working people. I've said it before here in the Stone Zone, and I will say it again. Tulsi Gabbard will be the first woman president of the United States. Perhaps not in 2028, but eventually. At the age of 43, she has a great political future ahead of her. But so far, she has distinguished herself for the meticulous and measured way in which she's made all of this shocking information public. And she continues. She has signaled that she is now examining the 2020 election and looking at classified documents regarding that disputed election. And only last week, she released documents that proved definitively that there was no online hack of the Democrat National Committee by Russian intelligence or anyone else. In fact, there was internal fighting inside the intelligence agencies where the director of national intelligence at that time, General James Clapper, advised others that there was no time to actually examine the information, the intelligence, that they were going to stick to this narrative. His exact words, "This is our story, and we're sticking to it." I was particularly victimized on this matter, so I'm glad to see that the truth is finally coming out. After all, one cannot be convicted of lying under oath in your voluntary testimony regarding events that never actually happened. Thank God for Tulsi Gabbard, and thank God for President Donald Trump for giving her the authority and backing her up in this truth-telling exercise. Meanwhile, it turns out that the Biden regime was deeply involved in the election fraud recently in Romania, where they interceded in order to ensure that the candidacy of their chosen candidate over the candidate who really won was effectuated. You're listening to the Stone Zone right here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial because we'll be right back.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. You're in the zone with Roger Stone right here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. The Trump administration is moving aggressively to restore gun rights to the people. Earlier this year, the Trump Department of Justice issued a new rule described as a first step towards relieving restrictions on firearms ownerships based on an individual's past criminal record. This would open the door for people who've been convicted of certain felonies and misdemeanor domestic violence charges to regain their right to bear arms. This rule is an effectuation of President Trump's Executive Order 14206 entitled Protecting Second Amendment Rights. The Department of Justice proposal would revive a federal gun restoration program under 18 U.S.C. Law 925 Section C that was defunded in 1992. Attorney General Pam Bondi stated that the 925C program reflects an appropriate avenue to restore firearm rights to certain individuals who no longer warrant such disability based on a combination of the nature of their past criminal activity and their subsequent demonstrated and current law-abiding behavior, while screening out others for whom full restoration of firearm rights would not be right or appropriate. One individual who has received their firearms back because of recent Trump administration rules is Hollywood superstar and Christian patriot Mel Gibson, who was convicted of misdemeanor battery in 2011. Over the past 14 years since that conviction, Mel Gibson has rebuilt his reputation and reaffirmed his status as one of the most iconic actors in history. He will also soon be releasing a sequel to his film, The Passion of the Christ, next year. The The Trump administration should be lauded for restoring his firearm rights and others, as he has had a spotless record since 2011. He's clearly a reformed man. The Trump administration should be lauded for returning his gun rights and to others who have paid their debt to society and will no longer have their constitutional rights infringed upon under the 925C program. Meanwhile, Texas Democrats have returned to work after a shameful and illegal walkout. Texas House Democrats have returned to their state after abdicating their responsibilities as lawmakers and bolting town for 2 weeks in order to prevent the legislature from achieving a quorum in order to block a Trump-backed congressional redistricting proposal during the special session. The Democrats hoped to outlast the special session deadline and stop the redistricting proposal from passing, but Republicans refused to back down, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott called another special session in response. Pardon me if I laugh at the crocodile tears about Donald Trump trying to cheat in redistricting, as Democrats did in California, as Democrats did in Illinois, as Democrats have done in New York. See, the Democrats have used illegal immigrants, non-U.S. citizens who were counted in the census, for the head count in congressional redistricting. President Trump is not going to allow that any longer and has ordered a new census. Coming up next on the Stone Zone, Shane Trejo, investigative journalist, is going to talk to us about what's going on right here in our hemisphere and the dangers posed by a Marxist dictatorship in Honduras that poses a grave danger to the United States, just as Cuba did back in the 1960s. It's a classic story of Alinskyism, where the legitimate president of Honduras, Hernandez, was removed after being framed by the Biden administration for drug trafficking. The irony of this, of course, is that President Hernandez was an absolute opponent of the narco-terrorists, and he was removed in a coup. Now they're threatening to have a new election, but that election will be anything but fair. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Shane Trejo and the Stone Zone, so don't touch that dial.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. You're back in the Stone Zone, and joining us now is investigative journalist Sean Trejo, formerly of Big League Politics, on the verge of launching his new site, The Populist Bulletin. Shane has assisted me in writing a number of articles regarding the political situation in Honduras, where the Biden Justice Department undermined a duly elected president, falsely accusing him of drug trafficking to clear the way for a Maduro-Castro-type communist government and a dictator in the name of democracy. Shane, welcome to the Stone Zone.
Glad to be back, Roger.
This is one of the oozing sores in this hemisphere, given our hard line regarding Cuba and our hard line regarding Venezuela. Give us a rundown of what's happening in Honduras.
Right now, the Honduran dictator, Xiomara Castro, right now she is standing very firmly with Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, after the Trump administration announced a $50 million bounty on the head of Maduro. She came out and expressed her solidarity with Maduro, saying that she stands with the people of Venezuela, that she's against the United States and what they're trying to do to free the people of Venezuela, and what they're doing behind the scenes right now is attempting to use election fraud in the November election, similar to what happened in the 2020 election here in the United States, to stay in power regardless of what the will of the people wants. She's done is they've weaponized their version of the FBI, which is the ATIC, and they have the ATIC working to intimidate and bully the National Electoral Council into doing their bidding. And making matters even worse, the Libre Party, their current Secretary of National Defense, her name is Rixi Moncada. Moncada is running for president under the ticket of the far-left Libre Party, while she is overseeing the elections as Secretary of National Defense. She refuses to step down, despite the immense conflict of interest that is happening with her overseeing the elections and being on the ballot. They did a test run of the election fraud that's intending to take place in November during the primary elections in March. The Associated Press said that polling centers were forcibly closed on Election Day because of conveniently lacking electoral materials. Only 10 of the 152 voting centers received the electoral material they needed to conduct the vote on Election Day in the Industrial Center of San Pedro Sula. And also there were Libre Party officials arriving at polling locations with suitcases full of allegedly illegal ballots that had already been filled out. So that was the test run for the election fraud that stands to take place in November. And the reason why this should matter to America First patriots and Republicans and conservatives in the United States is that Honduras is a key ally that we need to fight back against the flow of drugs and migrants that are coming up to the U.S. southern border. If a dictator, left-wing dictator in Honduras causes allows drug criminals to run free, that is going to we're going to pay the price because those drugs are going to be coming up to the U.S. southern border. And if they put in full-blown communism and despair and destitution reigns over the Honduran people, a lot of them will not stay there. They will be looking for greener pastures, and they will be coming up through the U.S. southern border. So stable countries in Latin America will mean better and more secure border. What we saw in El Salvador with Bukele becoming president, turning the place around, and now he takes illegals and houses them in his supermax prison on our behalf to help make America safer. So when we have stronger, more conservative, more rule of law leadership in Latin America, it directly helps and impacts the United States and helps us stop, the different problems with drugs and migrants that we have here. So we should be very much in tune with what is going on with the situation in Honduras. Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, certainly is. She recently went on Spanish language TV where she exposed Honduras for allowing an air bridge where Venezuela has free airspace to transport drugs from Honduras to Guatemala and to Mexico, where they transport the drugs and exchange money for bribes and also bring in illegal weapons in the ports of entry. So all this stuff, all the illegal guns that go to the drug dealers and the drugs and the migrants, this is being facilitated because of the Castro administration in Honduras and the Libre Party in Honduras. So it's very important that we understand what's going on and that President Trump and the Trump administration take action to make sure that these elections are fair and that there's no robbery of this election in Honduras, because the ramifications for the United States could be dire if the steal takes place.
Yeah, in a classic case of Alinskyism, that is where you accuse your enemies of doing exactly that which you yourself are doing. They accused former President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was a staunch supporter of free markets and of President Donald Trump, of engaging in drug trafficking with the acquiescence of the Biden Justice Department in a coup to remove him as president. I have been in touch with his daughter. We've spoken about this very, very aggressively. He was indicted by the Biden administration on drug conspiracy charges based largely on testimony from drug dealers who had no credibility, but who were being used by the government and punishing Hernandez for his strict law and order policies against the narco trade. The Biden deep state has eliminated this strong conservative voice in the region, and that's how they empowered radical socialists in a move that seriously jeopardizes the future of the island.
Absolutely. And, we also often talk about the deep state, and a lot of different alphabet soup agencies come up, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, but also the DEA is also equally corrupt as any of those entities. And they wanted to get Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was a strategic partner of President Trump's. He's actually the guy who signed the extradition treaty that allowed these different, heinous drug dealers to be get extradited from Honduras to the United States. So what does the DEA do under the Biden administration? They work with these drug dealers who were extradited due to Juan Orlando Hernandez's policies, and they get them to flip on JOH and implicate him, the guy who cracked down on drug dealing instead. And, even the feds had to admit that the drug trade waned under his leadership during the trial. But the drug dealers, the murderers, the killers, they were given clemency or leniency for providing, fantastical testimony against Juan Orlando Hernandez that couldn't be corroborated by anything except, what they said in court, knowing if I say this, then I'm going to get freed. So it was all a very corrupt process, and the Biden administration worked to make sure that the Castro regime that's currently in place handed over JOH on day one of her being being instilled into office in Honduras. So extremely unfair process that was done, and the people of Honduras are suffering because of that right now. I know U.S. pardon attorney Ed Martin, he had a great quote where he said, no MAGA left behind. We have to make sure that all the people who were screwed over by the Biden regime and by the deep state, that, justice is served in their cases. So a pardon from President Trump for Juan Orlando Hernandez would be a massive game changer. It would, legitimize the claims of conspiracy that the evidence backs up, but obviously the fake news media doesn't want to touch, because Juan Orlando Hernandez in the National Party there, they want to put in the rule of law. They would work with President Trump to make both countries great again, and thus stop the need for migrants coming up across the southern border. They would work together to stop the drug trade rather than working to facilitate it and then also prop up an evil socialist regime in Venezuela through that drug trade, like the Castro regime is doing right now. So the media is unfortunately blacking this out, but we've definitely shined a major light on it at the StoneZONE and on Stone Cold Truth Substack. And we got to keep pushing until this is done, because the people of Honduras, their freedom hangs in the balance, and the United States will also be harmed majorly if this communist regime in Honduras remains in power.
It reminds me very much of a situation currently going on in the Dominican Republic, where, and this is breaking some news here, the former U.S. ambassador, Wally Brewster, who served under Barack Obama, is currently under FBI investigation for being involved in drug trafficking with both U.S. government officials and Dominican officials. I know that as an absolute fact. It's interesting to watch Wally Brewster, the former ambassador, on Instagram. He has a constant flow of vicious invective attacking President Donald Trump, including accusing the president of involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, for which, of course, there is no evidence whatsoever, any wrongdoing of President Trump with Epstein. In fact, as we noted earlier in the show, former Attorney General Bill Barr, no friend or ally of President Donald Trump, a man who was revealed only days ago of having plotted with the radio personality Armstrong Williams to target a number of individuals who were guilty of nothing on January 6th, but also to work extensively directly with Fani Willis, the Georgia prosecutor who brought a conspiracy case regarding the election against President Donald Trump. So the sworn testimony of Barr, that no evidence that he saw during his reign as Attorney General implicated Donald Trump in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein, only confirms what I wrote in my 2015 book, The Clintons' War on Women, which you can still find online, where I did extensive research into the Epstein case. And I had Epstein's little black book, his telephone book. By the way, not everyone in that book is guilty of illegal activity, sex trafficking, child abuse. But the butler who sold it, a man named Alberto Rodriguez, now deceased, did circle the names of those in the book who he believed were either directly involved in child sex trafficking or were material witnesses. I also had in my 2015 book the full and complete FAA manifests that tell you who flew to Epstein's Orgy Island, title I took from my friend Sean Hannity. And I can tell you there are no Republican political figures having visited the island. If you're just tuning in, this is Roger Stone. You're listening to the Stone Zone. We're talking to investigative journalist Sean Trejo. He is on the cusp of launching his new website, his new news website, the Populist Bulletin. We're very excited about that. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back with more political news right here in the Zone.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we're back in the Stone Zone with me, Roger Stone, right here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We're talking to investigative journalist Sean Trejo. He is formerly of big league politics, but now launching his own new news website, the Populist Bulletin. I'm very excited about this because I think, well, as Chairman Mao said, let 1,000 flowers bloom. I think the more websites, the more news outlets telling people the American truth, the stronger America will be. Sean Trejo is among the very best investigative reporters with a particular expertise in communism in the Western Hemisphere. He has traveled extensively in this hemisphere, reported very extensively on the situation in Honduras. I do want to switch to domestic politics for our last couple minutes here. Shane, you have seen, as I have, the extraordinary disclosures by Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, where she has now declassified documents that prove absolutely, definitively, and without any question that there was a seditious conspiracy to take down President Donald Trump, that it was born in an Oval Office meeting in 2017, in which President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, National Security Advisor Susan Rice, FBI Director James Comey, CIA Director John Brennan, and others were present. This is no longer conjecture. It's not the result of investigative reporting. It goes far, far further than the John Durham report. My view is Durham's report was heavily sanitized. Just this past week, Tulsi Gabbard published declassified documents that proved definitively that the intelligence agencies were not confident whatsoever that there had been any online hack of the Democrat National Committee. In fact, there is no evidence of that. The evidence provided by Bill Binney, the former CIA IT expert, points to a download of the purloined material, some kind of portable drive that was most taken out the back door. So my final question to you, Shane, is do you think we will finally see justice in this matter? Do you think that Brennan, Comey, Clapper, Rice, Biden, Rosenstein, Weissman, Strzok, McCabe, this is quite a list of characters. This is a cabal. Do you think these people will see justice?
Absolutely. I think that now that, what Gabbard has released, confirmed everything that people like us have known really since the beginning of the Russiagate fake scandal. We knew it was a lie. We knew how they were doing it. But now that the government documents have been released that expose exactly the lengths that they went to and how they ignored intelligence analysts who said that the Steele dossier was fake, how that they ignored whistleblowers and covered them up, and just and how Barack Hussein Obama ordered it from the top, how he was actively involved in setting forth this conspiracy against Trump. Now that we know all of this stuff without a shadow of a doubt, there's nothing stopping a lot of these people from getting put in prison for the crimes that they've committed, the treason that they've committed. My only hope is that I hope it's not just a handful of people who are made examples of, people kind of lower down the food chain, or even like a Comey or a Brennan, maybe, one of those people go down or a few of them go down. I think it needs to go to the very top.
All right, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. I want to thank my guest, Shane Trejo. Look for the launch of his new website, The Populist Bulletin. Thanks for joining us today in the Stone Zone. Until tomorrow, God bless you and Godspeed.
Thanks for listening to the Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear the Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?